Hello, Tim Kerin here from Mortgage Choice in Kingsley. I just thought it would be a good idea to have a quick chat about loan terms, how long your loan is for, and how this might impact you. One question I get asked a lot by people who already have a home loan or by people who are going to get one is, rather than having a 30-year term, which is generally the max you can get from anyone, to ask for a shorter term than that, maybe 25 years or 20 or 15, because you might feel like you're capable of paying it off quicker over that quicker period. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because you're basically asking for a loan contract that requires you to pay your loan off sooner, and that can be a great thing. If you want to pay your loan off sooner, that's one way of doing it. But the thing to be clear on is, if you ask for a 20-year loan term, for example, rather than a 30-year loan term, you're asking for a loan contract that requires you to pay it off over 20 years. If instead you have a 30-year loan term, generally speaking, you can still pay it off over 20 years. It's just that you're not being forced to by the loan contract. The only thing required by the loan contract is to pay it off over whatever the loan term is, the 30 years in this case. So if you have a 30-year loan contract, you've got 30 years to pay it off, but you can still pay it off as quick as you like. If you've got a 20-year loan contract, now you have to pay it off over 20 years. So often what I see people deciding is to take the 30-year loan contract anyway, to give themselves the flexibility that if something goes wrong, or they lose their job, or for whatever reason they're unable to make loan repayments at some point in future, they're not having to keep up with the 20-year loan term repayment, they're only having to keep up with the 30-year loan repayment. And that could be the difference between being able to somehow make ends meet or having to ask your bank for a repayment holiday or fall into default on your loan. So I would say, in one regard, the 30-year loan term is the safer option, because more has to go wrong for you to be unable to keep up with the repayment than a 20-year term. On the other hand, if you're the sort of person that's likely to just pay the minimum, then that means if you get a 30-year loan term, it will take you 30 years to pay it off. What works for a lot of people, though, is to get the 30-year loan term and then just pay it off as quickly as they want anyway, or as quickly as they can anyway. And so that's an aspect of home loans that sometimes is misunderstood. You don't have to just pay the minimum. You can pay extra on every home loan I can think of at the moment. However, some of them come with restrictions, and that's important to be cognizant of as well. On a variable rate loan, there generally are no restrictions. I can't think of an example that contradicts that at the moment. So pretty much, without exception, on a variable rate home loan, you can make as much in extra repayments as you like, and most of the time you can withdraw any extra you've paid for free. That's called a free redraw facility. Some lenders charge you a fee to redraw, but for the most part, they tend to be free. On a fixed rate home loan, lenders will generally have a restriction on extra repayments. For example, you can't pay any more than $10,000 a year above the minimum, or you can't pay any more than $30,000 above the minimum over the fixed rate period, or you can't pay more than 5% of the loan balance off during any year while the rate's fixed. So as long as you're contemplating a variable rate loan, for example, you might argue that the safe option is to take a 30-year term and then just pay it off as if the loan term was 20 years anyway, by increasing your minimum payment or putting lump sums in whenever you have the money. I won't get into offset accounts, but that's another way of managing this too. I hope that helps. Any questions? Any more explanations you need? Any more detail on your particular situation? Just give me a call or send me an email, and I'm always here to help. Thanks.